I was 20 years old when a man in a black robe looked down at me and decided he already knew who I was. He didn't ask me anything, didn't look at the evidence twice, didn't even hide the boredom in his eyes. He just leaned forward, tapped his pen once, and said words that felt unreal coming out of another human being's mouth. Life in prison. No parole. That was it. Just like that. And in that moment, standing in a courtroom that smelled like old paper and burned coffee, I realized how cheap a life can be when the system decides you don't matter. The courtroom was packed, but I'd never felt more alone. The air was thick, heavy, like it didn't want to move. My hands were cuffed in front of me, cold metal biting into my wrists, and I remember thinking how stupid it was that I'd worried about wearing the wrong tie that morning. I was wearing a borrowed suit too big in the shoulders, the kind of thing you put on when you're trying to look like you belong somewhere you were never meant to be. The judge's name was Franklin Crow. To him, I was just another case number, another young guy from the wrong side of the city who fit neatly into a story he'd already written in his head. It started with a robbery I wasn't part of. A late-night convenience store. 2 masked guys, 1 gunshot, 1 dead owner. I wasn't inside. I wasn't holding anything. I was outside, leaning against a brick wall, waiting for a ride home after a long shift washing dishes. Wrong place, wrong time. The cops swept the area, grabbed everyone who looked like me, and needed someone to pin it on. They found one guy willing to talk, and he talked fast. He said my name. That was enough. My lawyer tried. I'll give her that. She was young, overworked, underpaid, and running on coffee and stubbornness. She argued timelines, pointed out inconsistencies, begged the court to see reason. Judge Crow barely looked up. Every objection she raised was shut down with the same tired line. Overruled. Sit down, counsel. His voice wasn't angry. That was the worst part. It was calm, like this was all just routine. When the jury read the verdict, I watched their faces. Some looked guilty, some looked relieved. One guy stared straight ahead like if he didn't see me, I wouldn't exist. Guilty. Guilty. And then Judge Crow didn't even wait. No pre-sentencing report, no pause. He launched straight into his speech about accountability, about choosing a life of crime, about protecting the community. He talked about me like I wasn't standing right there, like I was already gone. I heard my aunt cry out behind me. A sound that didn't sound human. I didn't turn around. I was afraid if I did, I'd break. When he said life without parole, my knees went weak. It felt like the floor dropped out from under me. I remember thinking this is how it ends. This is the moment everyone talks about, the one that splits your life into before and after. Then something strange happened. As the bailiffs moved closer, something inside me snapped into focus. Maybe it was fear, maybe it was anger, maybe it was just survival. I said I get a phone call, right? My voice cracked, but it came out louder than I expected. Judge Crow sighed, annoyed like a teacher dealing with a stubborn kid. He nodded toward the bailiff and told him to make it quick. I asked to make the call right there. On speaker. The judge smirked. He thought it was funny. Let him call his mom. Let him say goodbye. Fine. He waved his hand like he was granting a meaningless favor. The number I gave wasn't local. The bailiff raised an eyebrow but dialed it anyway. The line rang once, twice, then a professional voice answered. Office of the Attorney General. The room changed instantly. You could feel it like someone opened a window in a sealed room. The prosecutor froze mid-motion. My lawyer's eyes went wide. Judge Crow slowly leaned forward. I said my name. I said it was urgent. There was a pause. Muffled voices, then another voice came on. Deep, calm, controlled. This is Daniel Mercer. My throat closed up. Dad, I said. They just sentenced me to life. There was silence, long enough to feel unbearable. Then he spoke again, and the warmth was gone. Put the judge on the phone. Judge Crow stormed over, grabbed the receiver, puffed his chest out, tried to regain control. He said this was a state court. He said the sentence was mandatory. He said he followed the law. My father didn't raise his voice. He didn't have to. He asked him why he denied a pre-sentencing report. He asked him why he ignored exculpatory evidence. He asked him why his sentencing patterns showed extreme disparities depending on zip code and skin color. Each question landed like a punch. Sweat formed on Judge Crow's forehead. Then my father said the sentence that changed everything. My office will be reviewing every case you've presided over for the last 15 years. The judge went pale. The call ended. The courtroom was silent. Nobody moved. The bailiffs didn't know what to do. I was led away, but something had shifted. I didn't know how it would end, but for the first time that day I felt a crack in the wall closing in on me. What happened next didn't feel real. Federal agents showed up the next morning. Boxes, warrants, hard drives. My name became part of something bigger. Judge Crow's courtroom wasn't just harsh, it was dirty. Turns out he'd been working hand in hand with a developer friend hammering people in a specific neighborhood with maximum sentences to clear the area for redevelopment. People lost years of their lives over nothing. Trespassing, petty charges, all to make room for luxury condos and coffee shops. While all that came out, I sat in protective custody labeled a material witness. My father came to see me. Not as the Attorney General, as my dad. He told them to take the cuffs off. He hugged me like I was still a kid. He told me he was sorry, that the system he believed in had failed me, that he wouldn't let it stand. The indictment came fast. Judge Crow was arrested. So was the developer. Bribery, civil rights violations, racketeering. I watched it all on a small TV bolted to the wall, still half expecting someone to wake me up. Then my lawyer came in with a smile I'll never forget. The conviction was vacated, not retried. Dismissed. The witness recanted. The prosecutor was under investigation. The day I walked out, the sun felt too bright. I was still 20. I felt ancient. My father was waiting by a plain black car, no cameras, no speeches. We didn't hug right away. We just stood there, breathing the same air. I asked him if it was really over. He said for me, yes. For everyone else, not yet. Hundreds of cases were being reopened. People were going home. On the drive back, I told him I wanted to go to law school. He laughed a real laugh and said the world probably wasn't ready for that. Maybe he was right. But here's the thing. I was lucky. I had someone who could fight back. Most people don't. So here's my question to you. If my last name was different, would I still be sitting in a cell right now? How many people are still there because no one answered their call? Tell me what you think. Argue with me, share your story. Because justice shouldn't depend on who you know. And if we don't talk about that, nothing ever changes.